Live action here on Fight Night in Bethlehem. Go to round 7, scheduled for 10 between the heavyweights. Amir Mansour in the red and black. He has been winning round after round. Very strong fight. Good right. A couple of good rights there by Mansour.
And you see Mansour caught him with a great right hook, a nice overhand left. Beautiful punches, hard punches, but Kassi rolls with him just enough to take a little bit of the power off, just enough to where it doesn't quite knock him out. It caught him, it buzzed him, it hurt him, but he's still able to use his experience in there to elude and take some of the full power off the Amir Mansour shots.
Kassi weighing in at 233 for this fight, Mansour 232. Two big men in there.
Very big guys, both guys athletic, and you see, Amir Mansour's having his way, but Kassi still, he's not laying down, he's still trying to land his own punches, but he's standing a little too straight up on the inside, and it's going to leave him susceptible to those overhand lefts and those right hooks standing straight up. He needs to bend his knees a little bit.
And you heard the anticipation of the crowd, Steve, when he landed that big right and then that left. They're looking for that knockout.
Yes.
That's what they want to see Mansour do.
Yeah, man. You got a guy like Mansour. His physique and his size reminds you of Mike Tyson, So these guys want to see what Mike Tyson did. They want to see knockouts. Anyway, the fans want to see knockouts regardless.
Steve, he reminds me of Clubber Lang. I'm going to say it again. He really knows how to punch with that right hook. And I tell you what, when I was young, I used to watch that movie, and I'd ask my dad, I was like, how does he shoot so many punches? How does he punch so hard with his right hook? And, my dad didn't really have an explanation for me, but now watching Amir Mansour all these years later, I mean, he's got that same type of Clubber-esque power with that right hook, and it's just, it's fun to sit here ringside and watch it, guys.
Well, that says a lot about him. You don't get a Mike Tyson and a Mr. T reference often in the same fighter.
A whole lot of more.
Well, Clubber Lang was a southpaw, and he was from right down the road, Chicago. Amir's from Philadelphia, so, you see where I'm going with this.
You're saying Rocky Balboa might be next for Amir if he wins.
Uh-oh. Now we see a lot of blood coming out of the mouth of Amir Mansour.
Yes.
Some just spit blood.
Right, he's down. Mansour has knocked him out. A thunderous right by Amir Mansour, and Kassi is out cold.
And they need to take a good look at Kassi right now. He's in bad shape, Kenny. He went straight down on his face. His eyes really aren't moving too much, so everyone needs to take a step back and just give Kassi some room here to operate. He's still out.
That was a devastating one-punch knockout by Amir Mansour.
You guys were talking about he needed to get a KO.
That was that right hook. Kassi was standing a bit too straight up against the ropes. He caught him with that shot, and, Kassi still looks to be in bad shape here, guys.
That was as devastating a knockout as you will see.
Sound like a
Kassi went out cold with that one-punch power of Amir Mansour.
Caught him with a good first shot, set it up with a nice left-hand right hook. And then, after that, he saw Kassi stand straight up against the ropes. Feet were squared together, had nowhere to go. Shot the nice right hook, caught him right on the chin, picture perfect. Kassi down face first. I just hope he's all right now.
Chris Mannix telling us that he is responsive. As you look at the scene here, and that shows the power that Mansour has.
Wow.
And when we were talking about a little bit of blood coming out and Kassi was kind of frustrating him at times, even though Mansour was in control of the fight, that's how quick, in a blink of an eye, Mansour can turn a fight around.
Wow. That's that kitchen sink theory right there.
That was the refrigerator and the washing machine and everything else in one big right that simply floored Fred Kassi. As you see, they continue to attend to him.
And one thing a bit frightening here, guys, is Kassi still has his legs crossed exactly how they were when he just separated them right there. So he is gaining a bit of responsiveness now, but they're putting him on that stretcher and making sure he's okay. So hopefully he's okay here, and just nothing but hope here for Fred Kassi how they're treating him right now. Let's hope he's all right.
Mansour comes to check on the scene. Let's check in with Chris.
Guys standing just a couple of feet away from Fred Kassi. He is still down, obviously, but he is responsive. They do have an oxygen mask on him right now, obviously trying to take off his gloves at the moment, but his eyes are open, the neck brace is on, and obviously the next step is to take him out on the stretcher.
Precautionary measures with the brace and with the stretcher in these situations. Thank you for that, Chris.
Very dangerous sport, but, Kassi looks more responsive. He's talking. I see him moving his lips. He'll be okay.
Now he's moving his feet, moving his legs, but people tend to forget, in this boxing business, it's not a game. And, fighters risk their life every time they get in that ring, and this can happen at any time. And Amir Mansour, congratulations on a fantastic win. Fred Kassi was giving him some good work, and I just, at this moment, all I care about is hoping for the best for Fred Kassi and hoping that he recovers and that he's okay now, because he took a very hard shot there, and we just hope for the best for him. You never want to see a fighter get injured like that in the boxing ring, but it does happen.
You guys have seen a lot of fights, not just been in them, but been around the sport all your lives. You don't see too many knockouts, that kind of power, that sudden, and that devastating, BJ. I mean, that was a flat-out cold knockout. Kassi was out on his feet going down.
Well, that's what we talked about before the fight, Kenny, and that's what makes Amir Mansour so intriguing. He showed a lot of defensive lapses earlier in the fight. He showed a lot of things that he definitely needs some work, but that one-punch game-changing power, he could be losing a fight every single round. That wasn't the case tonight. But in another fight, he could be losing all the way down, and he's got that one-punch equalizer that can knock any heavyweight out in the entire division. It doesn't matter who you are, but he's got to improve in other areas to make sure that he doesn't have to rely on that one punch.
Yeah, no doubt he was winning this fight, winning every round up until then, but we talked about it, Steve. For him to look to try to move into the rankings, to get more attention, knockouts are what people look like. That's what sells seats.
That's what I said. He must have heard what we were talking about, because he took heat, and that punch sounded like a subwoofer over here ringside. He landed it quick, fast, and this guy went down.
And that applause is for Fred Kassi, as he is sitting up now right here in front of us. You see him being attended to, including in that group is Chaz Aguilar, his trainer. We heard from him several times throughout the fight.
They just need to keep some ice on his head and on his neck right now. Give him a little bit of time to get himself situated. I saw ringside Kenny. He didn't know where he was at. He was completely out, face first on the canvas. And, it's been a while since I've seen a guy go face first and not respond for about a minute and a half. And, it's just a very scary situation for everyone involved in the fight. And it's kind of tough to celebrate, a great win for Amir Mansour until we know that Fred Kassi's all right.
True.
Now you see Mansour, who did go over to check on Kassi. And that is the good news, is Kassi is just about 10 feet away from us, our position here at ringside. He is sitting up. We can see that he is talking to those around him, and now obviously he's standing. And stands up, gets seated once again. As the doctor takes another look.
And his body's still not completely responsive, Kenny. He knows where he's at now. But the knockout happened almost 5 minutes ago, and that's just a long time to be kind of out of it completely, separated from your senses like that for that amount of time. So they got to take extreme precaution with him right now and make sure he's okay. Don't try to move him around too fast, and get him over the doctor and make sure he's okay. With that being said, great win for Amir Mansour. Showed vulnerability, and I think that's what could get him a lot of fights. Some of the champions might look at him and say, hey, listen, he's got power, but I can beat him. He's vulnerable. And I think that might be the type of, opponent. He might fit that opponent role for a guy now that he's rated in the top 15 in the world. People will look at him and say, I can beat him, but you got to be careful of that equalizer.
And good news, Kassi obviously on his own power now, as Mansour comes over to congratulate a very tough opponent, had not fought in a year, and Big Fred as tattooed across his chest, showing a lot of heart here tonight against a very tough Amir Mansour. A fight that was certainly competitive until that one big right.
That right there is the reason why it's hard for Mansour to get fights. Number one, he's a southpaw, he's a powerhouse, and he's pretty fast.
So here he is talking with Kassi. That is the good news, to see Kassi up on his feet, responding and able to